So I almost scrapped this video just because GenCon went a little too well. Everything went as planned, nothing crazy happened, and we actually broke our record and sold out of almost everything at the show. We actually made about double what we did at Anime Expo, which is crazy. But aside from being an all-around just good time, nothing all that interesting happened. I was literally begging my friends to burn something down on the last day just so I would have something interesting to say. Other than I came home sick, negative COVID test, but sick nonetheless. So if I sound a little weird in this video, that's why. So we're gonna pivot. We'll do a very quick recap of the show, and then I want to talk about how cons are changing, as this is a topic I've wanted to discuss for a while now. I do think GenCon is a good example of that. The only real fail of this weekend was that Otakon was the same weekend, which is historically another really great con for me. However, it's never quite as good as GenCon, just because I think the audience at GenCon appreciates original art a little bit more than, say, an anime convention, and that tends to benefit my sales specifically. Also, the hours aren't psycho, so I actually get to sleep after the show. Baby, you were born that way. I get it. No shade. Love you, Otakon. But Zhang went to Otakon. However, this isn't about her. She said it was fine, or whatever. Let's get back on track.
Tim, what is this?
So happy to have you here at my table. The famous Justin Tostino's pizza roll. Is this gonna be B-roll?
So, as a recap, I did about $24,000 for the weekend. This to date is my best show. Also, do you remember that video that I made when I said client work didn't pay anywhere near what conventions do? I still stand by that video. I used the TCG cards I had made for Lorcana as an example, and well, I made a lot of money off of signings this weekend, so, if you watch the video, maybe just replace the client that I used as an example with any other client work, because I might have not thought about a thing. Anywho, but also I had to go to a convention to make money off of the signings for the client work I had previously done, so it's a weird Taco Bell, KFC fusion situation that's kind of niche. I don't know. I'll put the expenses up on the screen as I don't have the numbers right in front of me, and you can do a little math. Maybe I'll do it for you. Who knows? 3,000 of that was signings, so still a 20K plus show if you don't count that. The other exciting thing is I got to finally show off my new backdrop. There's still a lot more that I want to add to this. Also, the space was way bigger than I thought. I won Best of Show last year, so they offered me this featured artist space, which is double the size of the next largest space in the art show. So even though this backdrop is a lot bigger than my old one, it kind of looks tiny in the space, but on a more normal table at other shows, I think it'll look great. But it's actually based off of this marketplace illustration I had done last year, and if you're familiar with the VTuber Miss Lala, they're actually the one who constructed it for me, so big shout out to them.
What do you mean, spit don't swallow? I am a classy lady. I only swallow. I don't make a mess. I'm talking about food. I'm talking about food!
I'll leave a link for their content down below. I think most conventions these days fall into two major categories: anime and Comic-Con. These are the mainstream of the different genres. However, there's niche conventions for almost anything. Obviously, GenCon is a tabletop con, so it's a little bit more specific of an audience. This can be really beneficial to your sales if your work falls within that niche. This creates an interesting juxtaposition between how social media is working these days. Back in the day, you could make art of really niche things and very quickly integrate into those communities, and they'd be able to find you because hashtags and stuff like that actually were functional on said social media platforms. However, with the push of video content on most social media platforms, things have become very generalized.
What? I've been looking at you.
This whole time?
Yeah.
Not at my booth?
At you.
If you want to blow up on these platforms, you need to cast a wide net and appeal to a very general audience. And as an artist, this can really dull down your work in some cases. Obviously, there's exceptions, but interestingly enough, that makes competition a lot harder for the things that are popular, because then everybody's doing the same thing, and if you're not the best of the best doing that thing, it's hard to stand out. So the more specific my work gets, the easier and more successful my sales become at events that cater to that audience. But then the harder it becomes to be seen online for doing that niche or unique work. So you see a lot of artists these days playing this balancing act between what they want to make, what they think will sell, and what will get them the most views. As being popular online, we all know is economically very helpful. Gone are the days of making your display out of plumbing tools from the Home Depot. Mostly. The market's becoming more flooded with conventions, and those conventions are becoming more competitive. What does this mean? As the average citizen within the United States has less spending power, they're going to save their money up for the biggest, baddest show. This makes the local market suffer. Unless, of course, it's something unique or niche. How else would you get 70,000 people to go to a tabletop convention in Indiana? So this means most people who want to, say, attend a Comic-Con are probably only going to save up money to go to the biggest and most exciting one that they can afford. The number of cons has also flooded the market. This issue is super apparent if you live in like the LA area or say Florida, where there's so many like night markets, conventions, art events every other weekend. You're not going to see any substantial attendance rate at any particular show in these areas other than the biggest and most popular show for that region. Ironically, now that conventions are more popular and more prevalent than ever, it's become more tricky. This makes smaller shows in more general genres less viable for artists like us to sell at, or at least the money pool within those halls is much smaller than it was a few years ago. That being said, it's still much easier to say stand out among the artist alley artists in a space like this. So if you want to feel like a big fish in a small pond, that could be a route to go. And when us artists prioritize those bigger shows, there are far more applications, making the show much more competitive to even get in. And then when you're at a show like San Diego Comic-Con or Anime Expo that has hundreds of artists in the hall, it becomes difficult to stand out. I've heard the saying before, and I very much think it's true. 10% of the artists are getting 90% of the sales. And that doesn't mean those other artists aren't making a decent living. It just means everybody is pushing harder and harder to compete. I think a good example of this is if you've ever been to, say, like New York Comic-Con or a show like it that prioritizes bringing in actual comic book artists, and you end up seeing all the art laid flat on white tables, no thought put into display. Obviously, I'm generalizing. And then they end up next to, say, somebody who does Artist Alley more regularly, and the display game is like night and day. And that's how you have like a random anime chibi artist making 10 times the sales as like some famous comic book cover artist who's been working in the industry for decades, when you have somebody right next to you that's optimizing every single thing for sales. So even if you have really great credentials that can get you into some of these bigger shows, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to compete at the same level as somebody who's thinking about their work in a marketing sense. To somebody who's just starting out that sees how much money I can make in a weekend, they might think that that I might be one of the top artists in a lot of these halls, and that is not the case. I'm very middle of the road when it comes to convention income. There's people who pull in double what I make in a weekend, triple what I make in a weekend even, who are relatively unknown artists. And that's just because they're either much better at playing into general audiences or fandoms, or just better artists, but aren't necessarily good at marketing themselves online, so they never become super well known outside of a marketplace setting. There are plenty of ways to succeed as an artist in these spaces, but perception, notoriety, and credentials can be a bit deceiving when it comes to measuring success financially. And I'm grateful that I make enough money where I don't have to feel like I need to optimize what I do to make higher sales. I can paint what I want. I also don't want this to come off as discouraging if you're not making the numbers that you want at a particular show. I'm just very aware that I am far from the ceiling of what is possible. But I also think if you're breaking, say, like $3,000 in gross income at any multi-day convention, that's probably above average. But if you do hit, say, that number, I think you probably understand enough to be able to push even farther. It took me a really long time to be able to make $1,000 at a convention. And then it took me a really long time to make $2,000 at a convention. And then it took me a really long time to hit $3,000 at a convention. And then the year that I did that, I went from 3 to 5 to 9 within the span of a couple months because things just started to click, all with the same body of work. It was all just switching around my display and optimizing things to encourage more sales. And I'm an introvert. I don't really pitch my work to the customers at all. It's all just display related growth. I've recently learned not everybody in the convention space loves that I make these videos. Gatekeeping industry secrets, I suppose, is what's expected of me. But I also think these are the same people that I catch at 6 a.m. behind my booth taking pictures of my Artist Alley setup to try to figure out how I do things. Innovation is something that's lost on them. Making cooler and better work isn't something that excites them. But who am I to judge? Like and subscribe.
Is this for the YouTube?
No.
What is this for?
Masturbation.